Brazos State Park has been flooded for the second time in less than 1 year. Texas Parks and Wildlife, along with Park Superintendent Christopher Bishop, have been gracious enough to allow me to tour the park, which is now closed to the public until at least May 10th, and to give you an idea of what your park looks like now, and the road ahead to recovery of this ever-changing, ever-natural beauty of this wonderful world. On April 18th, Park Superintendent Chris Bishop made the difficult decision to close the park in anticipation of the rising floodwaters that were for sure to come down the Brazos River on their way to the Gulf of Mexico. It was then when Bishop began to notice the rise in the water on the flood gauge located along the Brazos River at FM 1462 in Rose Sharon. There were only 10 campers in the park at the time, which made the evacuation smooth and streamlined. Now that the floodwaters have stabilized and the Brazos River has crested at 51.1 feet, we are getting the first glimpses of what damage may have been caused by this flood and what the road ahead may look like for Brazos Bend. The park itself looks like it usually does all the way from the main entrance to the Nature Center and the pathway leading to the George Observatory. But it's when you arrive at the turn in the road that leads to the campgrounds in Hale Lake when you get your first good glimpses of what really happened to this beautiful park. Perhaps most of the damage was done at Hale Lake, an area of the park where an earthen levee may have been compromised. The dam had been in place since before Parks and Wildlife became owners of the park over 30 years ago. Since then, routine maintenance has been done to the levee, but this time, the possibility of further damage is a likely possibility. It's still way too early to tell what damage, or if any damage, has been done to Hale Lake, or even if the lake is a total loss, at least for the meantime. If the worst case is the case, then Hale Lake is lost. Repairs must be made to the levee, and large amounts of rain will be needed to refill the lake. Superintendent Bishop warns that it's just way too early to tell. As for Red Buckeye and White Oak trails, park staff are still unable to reach them due to the high water from the Brazos River and Big Creek. One could reasonably assume, however, the damage is extensive, and it could be a while before those trails are accessible. Bishop is quick to point out a silver lining in every cloud, and by doing that we see many good signs and wonders. Among the many linings in these clouds is that Elm and 40-acre lakes are still in really good shape considering what the park has been through. The picnic area around Elm Lake is, as of today, still partly flooded. As for the lake itself and the trail, they're just fine. Alligators are being given more habitat than they normally get to use. Areas such as the flooded parts of the picnic area at Elm Lake. As for rebuilding the park, Bishop said there's a lot to do. When the floodwaters go down, each of the campsites and shelters need to be properly cleaned and pressure washed. This will take time. Bishop said, "I don't want to charge somebody $7 and give them only $3 worth of use." This is a philosophy that almost anyone can agree with. As for the park, it'll come back just like it has before. Under the leadership of a person like Christopher Bishop, the park staff, valiant and honorable volunteers, and the community supporters will make it better than it was before April 18, 2016, and even Memorial Day 2015. Reporting from Brazos Bend State Park in Damon, Texas, I'm Matt Pierce, journalist, editor-in-chief of Y Sky Magazine.